Welcome to the best day of the year. Well, maybe Thanksgiving's a little bit better, but this is like the second best day of the year. Well, the first Bears game, that's pretty. The third best day of the year when we get to announce our keynote speaker for the Idea Collective Small Business Conference. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. I'm glad that you joined us today. And not only do we get to announce our big-time keynote speaker, we get to talk with them as well, which is just the coolest. So before we do that, let's make sure that we're up to speed on what's happening here. The Idea Collective Small Business Conference, 3 days to work on your business, not in it, back at the Grand Geneva Resort in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, November 9th through the 11th. The entire conference is going to be announced on Monday, May 8th. And then we'll have early bird tickets on sale through the month of June, and then they get cut off. So that's all of that out of the way. But let's talk about what's really going on here. What is this conference all about, and why should I care? Well, the conference is the in-person version of what we're doing every day, all the time inside the Idea Collective. And what that means is we're bringing small business owners together that understand they don't have to grow their business alone. They got big visions. They want to build their dreams and take them as far as humanly possible. But they've discovered that when they show up and help one another, they can go further and they can go faster and they can have more fun. It's kind of a little secret. So what we're doing in the community is great. And when we get together in person and we welcome new people in who maybe aren't in the community yet, some real magical things happen. We've had 2 conferences already. In 2021, that was our first one. Mel Robbins and Jesse Cole from the Savannah Bananas were our keynote speakers. Last year, Mike Michalowicz from Profit First and Precious L. Williams, the killer pitchmaster, they were our keynotes as well. And this year, we've got 3 keynote speakers, 3 of them. 2 of the keynotes I'm not going to announce until Monday the 8th. But our big-time keynote speaker, I'm going to announce right now. So this conference is all about building relationships. Because right now, in your small business, you probably have a network. Good for you. You may have a community. Better for you. But at this conference, you go beyond community and you build real relationships. Because laughing so hard it hurts around a campfire and having a cocktail with someone that you've talked to on Zoom for a year but you've never met in person, that's where things change. And that's where you build these real relationships. And that's what happens at the conference. So if you're not a member of the Idea Collective yet, cool. But if you can relate with what we believe in, positivity, abundance, support, and that we're building a dream together, we need you to come because we need more people like you to enlist in the mission. That's how we're different. That's what we're doing. Pat, hurry up and get to it. Who the heck is the keynote speaker? Okay, here we go. So excited. Marcus Lemonis is our keynote speaker at the Idea Collective Small Business Conference, and we're so fortunate because he joins us now. Marcus, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I can't tell you how excited I am to do this. Anytime we get a chance to talk to other business owners about what's happening in their life and how we can help get their minds right about improving the people that they have, including themselves, improve the process that they have, and then make sure that their product, whether it's a product or service, is on point.
You know, what's I love about what you do, and I've been watching The Profit forever and been following the way that you talk about small business, there's a real alignment. And that's why I think you're perfect for our small business community, because you talk about relationships and positivity and abundance. And that's just right in line with the Idea Collective. Our tagline is don't grow it alone. For someone that's as smart as running a business as you are, like you're an expert at this, not a lot of people talk about positivity and abundance and relationships. Where does that come from in your worldview as an entrepreneur?
It really comes from many years of seeing the successes that happen and the failures that happen in my own life, in my own business, and recognizing what the counterpoint is. And anytime I tried to do it alone or thought I had all the answers or thought I could solve it all myself, the failure rate was significantly higher. And anytime I made it a collaborative effort and hired people that were smarter than me and better than me and stronger than me and just quite frankly, better than me, the business success rate increased dramatically. And what I learned over the years is that businesses are really about relationships and about the people you surround yourself with. And it sounds a little too promotional in nature when you say those things, but I have the facts and the figures of almost 30, 40 years of business that prove that theory out. And as I've seen other people who have been successful in business, same kind of thing. When they try to do it alone, there are exceptions to the rule where it may work once in a while, but the more you can get other people involved, the better you're going to be.
What's so great about your appearance at the retreat is we just get to have a conversation. We're going to talk through the 3Ps because we've both been to those business conferences where the keynote gets up there and gives their 45-minute speech and walks off. But you're going to talk with me. We're going to talk through the 3Ps. You're going to take some questions from our community members. So what can we expect during that conversation as we go through the 3Ps of small business?
Well, the only way that conversation really works for everybody is if people come with an open mind and an honest mind about what they're struggling with. And what people can expect is to get very real answers about the good, the bad, and the indifferent. And I have no problem sharing my failures and what I believe led to them and what I see in other people and what I believe leads to their success and failure. But I'm hoping just to have an open dialogue where people feel less like they need to show off and more like they need to show up.
Wow, I love that. And that's what the community is about because we get together and we support one another. We say in the group that you need to have the courage to ask for help and the grace to offer it when people ask, because a lot of people, and you see this on LinkedIn, they're running around trying to be the smartest person in the room all the time, and they won't set aside that mentality to try and get the support from people that they could use along the way. One of the things I wanted to ask you about in the 3Ps, people is first. And I think a lot of maybe first-time small business owners or people that aren't growing as big as they could be, they worry more about the product. What happens when we double down on supporting our people and making sure that the right people are on our team?
Well, it increases the odds that the product or service are right. And this idea that we have all the answers in a moment in time may be true, but as time changes and the macro environment changes and society changes and the digital strategy changes and artificial intelligence comes into play and all these things change. If you don't have good people around you, you're not going to necessarily understand the necessity to rapidly evolve your product or service. And on day one, the minute you launch your company, it may be perfect for the market. 487 days later, it may not be. And if you don't have really good people around you that are willing to be honest with you, they're able to solve that problem maybe even better than you, that are willing to acknowledge that, yeah, things need to change, then you're going to be good for a minute and then your light's just going to flicker out. That's my big concern for people, is that everything changes every day.
As I watch the profit for all the years that you've done it, it seems like that's one of the first things that you consider when you walk into a business you need to turn around. Maybe they have a great product, but the team isn't quite right. So what does it feel like if you're the business owner and the team isn't right? What are some of the symptoms that pop up or some of the things that you might be feeling if you need to make sure that everyone's in the right seat?
Well, I guess the first thing is, if you're the business owner and the people aren't right, you probably need to find a mirror. Because the reality of it is that you're the one that actually put that together. And as business owners, I too often find that people want to blame everybody else. But if you're the architect of the building, you're the captain of the ship, you're the boss that you want it to be, that comes with responsibility and acknowledgement. And if things aren't right, at the end of the day, there's really nobody ultimately responsible other than you.
Yeah, that's a killer point. Product is the third piece of the puzzle, but the other thing I wanted to dig in on is process is another thing that maybe we don't worry about as much as we could. Is that the one that's the most overlooked, of having a solid process, or are they all equally to blame in a business that isn't working the way that it should?
Well, rather than focus on the blame, I'd rather focus on where are you able to move the needle the most. And, the obvious piece is around people, but great people with a bad business plan still makes it a bad business. And great people with an irrelevant product still makes it a bad business. And great people with no process still makes it a broken business. And so you can have the people and you got to check that box. But the process for me isn't just about how you make the widget or how you provide the service. It's the steps that go into determining what is the right product or service and what is the right pricing and what are the features and benefits that it should have, and how do you deal with customer resolution, and how do you deal with conflict, and how do you deal with the vendors, and how do you staff up as your business is growing. And so sometimes people think the process is the I Love Lucy, where you see the chocolate coming down the conveyor belt. That's a part of the process, but the game plan to come up with the idea and the game plan to map it out and the cash flow to build it and the business plan to develop it and the marketing, all of those things are all part of that process. And that's why you need subject matter experts in each of those different areas. And I understand that when you're small and you're just starting out, you have to be the subject matter expert of everything because the business doesn't have a lot of working capital. I get that. But there are a lot of free resources out there. There are a lot of people that you can consult with at the level of budget that you have. Primarily, the thing that I think hurts people the most is they open up a business with a great idea or a great service or something wonderful, but they don't have sufficient working capital. They didn't build that into their plan. And then things don't go exactly the way they needed them to, and they don't have any money to hire any people to help them, and the business goes away.
Yeah.
So we keep hearing about small business failure. The failure usually happens in the early phases or in the late phases, rarely in the middle. I either didn't plan properly in the beginning, or I haven't accepted change management enough in the end to evolve. And so you look at the bookends of a business, and that's usually where they fail, the beginning and the end. In the middle, they clunk along pretty well.
One of the things I'm most excited about is we'll carve out time during the conference for our members to ask you a few questions. So I'm curious, as you're talking with small business owners right now, what are some of the trends or the issues that you're seeing that you think we should be paying attention to or have captured your imagination at the moment?
I think the way that we communicate with our customers in any business is going to be important right now. And that's a trend that customers are going to drive. The way they interact with you, the way they transact with you, the way they communicate with you, the way they want their issues resolved, and the way that we provide them that open platform to interact with us is, we can call it innovative. I would call it a necessity, but because of all the technology that's out there, it feels innovative. I can promise you that your competitor right now, who you struggle with every single day, is doing something that you're not, to outsmart you, to out-communicate you, to out-improve you. And so the trends for me are all really around, what are we doing to better communicate with our associates, and what are we doing to better communicate with our customers?
Last question I have for today is, you've had so much success. You're running a giant company. Why are you still doing this? Why are you still helping small business owners my size and the folks in our community when there are so many other things that someone in your position could be doing? Why are you still so concerned about helping small business owners win?
Because it's the most important thing that drives our economy. And it's the most important thing that drives our communities. And if you look at the number of businesses out there, there are more small businesses than there are big businesses. And you look at the fabric of our neighborhoods and our towns and our cities and our states, and they're largely driven by the success or failure of those business owners. And so it feels like you can do a lot to improve your community. You can do a lot to improve society. This happens to be the one thing that I choose to spend my time on because I see the value. Now, this happens to be the one thing that I want to spend my time on because I see the value.
Yeah, we're so grateful that you do. We're looking forward to an extended conversation at the conference in November. And we always try and do it differently. Find someone that's a real leader in the space and just have a conversation with them. So we're grateful that you agreed to do it. And I cannot wait to continue the conversation in November. Thank you so much.
I'm excited. I'll see you then. Take care.
Come on. Marcus Lemonis, one of my small business heroes that talks about abundance and positivity and relationships and people and process and product. He's going to answer our questions that you're going to ask. He's going to help you build your small business. It's the way we do these big time interviews at our conference. We don't just have people go up on stage and do their canned 45-minute thing. We get this time with them and we use it to the fullest. So if you want to be there, if you need to be there, you got to get a ticket. Early bird tickets go on sale Monday, May 8th. And if you want to get the direct ticket access, click the link attached to this video and you can get on the wait list. I could not be any more excited for you to be a part of what we're building to help small business owners achieve their dreams. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. It's going to be epic. You got to be there. The Idea Collective Small Business Conference in November. Cannot wait. We'll see you real soon.